Welcome to this tutorial to our version of the Power Market Simulator. In this video, I will show you how the supply and demand curves are constructed in the Power Market Simulator, and I will also show you the different kinds of decisions the user can make within electricity production, within power transmission, and within electricity consumption. And finally, I will show you what kind of calculations the user can make. But let us go to the Power Market Simulator. Now we are inside the Power Market Simulator. And as you can see here, it is possible to calculate on all countries in the world here. There are in fact data for production units and for demand in all these countries. But let us start looking at Spain here. If I right click here, I can see the supply curve here. This is the supply curve for Spain, and this here is the demand curve. You can see here that there are a lot of photovoltaic units here, and there is also hydropower plants here, and then you have onshore wind power, and you can see the capacity of the units, and it is in fact the operational capacity, and you can see the marginal costs. The marginal cost of this onshore wind here is 2.15 euros per megawatt hour. And here you can see the nuclear power plants in Spain. You can see the year of commissioning, and you can see the capacity, and it is in fact the running capacity of the units, and you can see the marginal costs of the units. And so you can continue here. This is all the combined cycle gas turbines here in Spain. And this here is the peak load units on engine on oil. So this here is the supply curve, and this here is the demand curve. The demand in each area here will of course depend on the time of day. If I say here we are during nighttime, the demand will decrease, and during daytime the demand will increase. And if it is the season here is winter time, the demand will also change during winter time, and the day type we use, this is here a Saturday, but if I change this here to a work day, the demand will increase. The demand is dependent on the time of day here, and on the season, and the type of day. And the data for demand is coming from the ENSO-E database for each country. But let us now assume that we are producers. So if I'm a producer, I can go here and I can click on buying and selling, and then I can change the prices of fuel. If I, for instance, say here that I want to increase the price of the natural gas here, and then you can see here that all the natural gas fired units here, they will have an increased marginal cost. The prices of wind power and nuclear power will of course not change, but all the units that are producing based on natural gas will of course have a higher cost. Now I reduce this here again, the natural gas price here, and then I can also change the price of CO2 quotas. If I increase the quota price here, you will see the same thing, that all the units here that is emitting CO2, they will have a higher marginal cost. The marginal cost here is about 111 euros per megawatt hour. If we have this lower CO2 price, you can see that the price here is reduced. Now it's only 101 euros per megawatt hour. As a producer, you can change the values here of the prices of fuel and CO2. Another thing you can do here is that you can also change the availability of the different types of units. If I, for instance, say here that we are in a situation where there is the full capacity of solar is used here, then you can see here that all the units that is based on this photovoltaic, they will increase their production. So this, for instance, this unit here, its capacity is 258 megawatt, and now it is running at full capacity. The same you can do here for wind, for instance. Then the wind turbines here, they will be running at full capacity. If you want to know the capacity of the different wind turbines in Spain, you can set this one to 100%, and then you can see the full capacity. So if I reduce the availability here, then the capacity, the running capacity, will of course reduce. The default values of solar here, the availability of solar, is taken from ENSO-E database. So if I, for instance, say here during nighttime here, you can see that this here, the solar production will automatically reduce to zero because there's no photovoltaic production during night times. If I want to see the data for each of these units here in the model, and if I want to change the data, I will also act as a producer here, and I will go to this maintenance extra here. I have Spain here. I've chosen Spain. I want now to choose the unit that which data I want to change here. Could be this one here. This is the nuclear power plant here. So I can see this here is the variable production cost for this nuclear power plant, and this is the efficiency of the nuclear power plant. I can see here it is the capacity is this amount here, and I can see when it has been commissioned and when it is supposed to be decommissioned. I can change these data here. If I, for instance, say here now I want say that this unit is in fact decommissioned. So I say that this here should be 2022 here, and now it is this unit here we are focusing on. This one here, and then I go here and say save to this one here, and now you can see that this unit is not in operation any longer. So you can delete units from the supply curve here using this maintenance extra. It is also possible to build new power plants. So if I say here, I want to build a new wind power plant here, I choose the area. It is still Spain here. And then I say it is wind here. And I choose the technology. It is onshore wind. I say the year of commissioning is year 2023 here. And I say the capacity of the wind turbine is 4,000 megawatt. I choose the color red here so we can see it. And then I add this unit here. You can see this here is the unit that we have just added. We said that it was 4,000 megawatt unit, and here it only says 1920. But if I go here and say that now it is running on full capacity, this unit here, then I can see we have the 4,000 megawatt production on this new unit. So it is possible for your user both to decommission units here and commission new units, and you are also able to change the data of existing units in the model. The next thing we will do is that we will act as a transmission system operator. If you click here and click on the transmission overlay here, you can see all the transmission lines that is included in the model. So if I click on this one here, I can see that the transmission capacity between Spain and France is 25,000 megawatt, and from France to Spain it is 2,700 megawatt. So this here is all the transmission line that is included in the model. I can also see the values here. If I click on this one here, now I'll take the transmission overlay back here, and then now I will go here and I will change the transmission line capacity between, for instance, Spain and France. The way I do that is I click out this here, and I now go to be a transmission operator, and I say here buying and selling. I choose the area I want to go from Spain here and to France here, here. Now I can see this is the transmission line capacities. And if I say I want to say that the line is out of order here, it's down. I set these values here to 0, and I save this here, and I do a calculation here for these two areas, and then I can see that if I right click here on Spain, I can see that the production and consumption in Spain is the same, has the same value, and is the same for France, because there's no connection between the two areas. So now I will again make the connection here, Spain here, and France. This is the connection, and it was 2500 here, this way here, 25 and 27 here. I save these values here, and now I do the quick calculation again, and now you can see here that in Spain the production here is higher than the consumption, because Spain is in fact exporting power to France. And if we look here at the values for France here, you can see that here we have the production in France, and this is the consumption. You can see that we are importing capacity. And if I want to know the amount of capacity that is imported here, I click on show result here. I can see here the consumption is this value here, and the production is this value. I can see how many power plants there is in Spain here, and I can see all the cost here, the producer surplus, consumer surplus, and the transmission surplus for this calculation we have just done here. I can do the same for France here, show results, and then I can see that the consumption is higher than the production because we are importing to France in this case. And if I click on both of them and click on show results, I can see the total results for Spain and France, and of course the consumption and production will be the same because there's no, we have not clicked on any of the other countries around these two areas. You can, in fact, also build new line capacities here. If I say I want to establish a new line between, for instance, Germany here and could be Ireland, for instance, here. Then I say now the capacity of this line should be 1000 megawatt here, 1000 megawatt here. The name is Germany, Luxembourg, and Ireland. Start year is, for instance, year 2023 here. I build it and now have a line here of 1000 megawatt between Germany and Ireland. If I click here on the transmission overlay here, I can see that there is also now this line here between Germany and Ireland. So this line will be included in the calculations if I do calculations. Click down this here. If I want to save the settings I've done here, I can export a file, and if I after that I want to, when I open again, I want to continue with the settings I've just made here, I will import the file again, and then I can continue my calculations. I will end this here with making a calculation for this part of Europe here. And see the result. I do a quick calculation here, and then of course it will take some time to make this calculation, but you can see the prices in Europe here. There are very low prices here in Portugal and Spain due to the very large amount of renewable energy they have in these areas here, and you can see the prices in the other parts of Europe here. If you, for instance, if we click here on Germany here, you can see that the consumption in Germany is this amount here during winter workday. This is the consumption here, and this here is the production. So in fact, Germany is importing power in this calculation we've just done here, and you can see that there's the same price, marginal price, in all these areas here, and that is due to the fact that there's no bottlenecks between the areas. We've now come to the last type of actor we can choose here, and this actor is responsible for the demand side. If I left click here, there is different possibilities. I can establish a flexible consumption plant. I can change the efficiency and capacity of existing flexible consumption plants. When I do scenario calculations, I can choose a plant that I want to calculate the profit for. I can change the yearly increase in consumption in the different areas. I can insert price ceilings in the different areas. And finally, I can change the consumption in the different areas. If I go here and, for instance, click here on Italy, right click, I can see here we have the supply curve, and here we have the demand curve. And you can see here there is a in fact already flexible consumption plants here, because they have some batteries in Italy. So this here is the demand without flexibility, and this here is the flexible units in Italy. Now I will build a new flexible unit in Italy. I say here establish, call it power to X unit, choose the area, as we also did when we had would build unit. It's Italy. I choose energy, it's chemical, and I want to make an electrolysis producing hydrogen. The commissioning year is 2020, and the capacity is 2000 megawatts. The color is red here. The maximum price I would pay in order to produce hydrogen is 40 euros per megawatt hour. And then I add this flexible unit here. And what you can see here is that this here was the demand without flexibility. This is the existing units that are flexible in Italy. And here we have built a new chemical unit. The capacity here is not 2000 because we assume that there is an availability of 90%. And of course, I can change that. Now I have built this unit here. I can also say now I would change the values of this unit or some of the other units here. Then I again choose Italy here, and the unit I want to change the values for is my P power to X unit. And you can see here that we have the values here. And now I say the price I would pay here is 70 euros per megawatt hour. Then here, this unit here will move up here. And if I do a calculation here for Italy and uh, Switzerland, calculate prices here, you can see that the prices here in Italy, this here is the production in Italy. This here is the demand. Italy is, in fact, importing power. And if you look here, then you can see that this unit here is in fact operating, because the price is so low in Italy that we are of course willing to buy electricity. So this here is the total demand, and if I want to see the total demand here for Italy, I say show results here. I can see that the non-flexible demand is this amount here, and the flexible demand is this amount here, and the production is this amount, and we are of course importing from Switzerland to Italy. I'm also able to change the values here of um, my unit in Italy, the power to X unit here, in a way where it will not be operating. So if I say that the price here is 2 euros per megawatt hour, I save this here, take this away here, and then I do a new calculation here for Italy and Switzerland, and click here on Italy. Now I can see here that if I click here, that this here is the demand. This here will not be operating because the price we are willing to pay is too low. I can also show you the result here for Italy. Now you can see that there's only few, the batteries in Italy, they are still operating because we were willing to pay much more in order to charge the batteries than this flexible unit we have included in our calculation. This was the different possibilities you have when you're making analysis using the power market simulator, our version. So I would just recommend you to buy a license and uh, try to play with this model.